And good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Back at it with another great conversation with an opportunity maker, Tommy Collier. Before I get into talking about Tommy and welcoming him to the call, as I have been doing, I want to take a moment and acknowledge our First Nations people, the caretakers of this great land that I live in, Muskoka in Ontario, about 2 hours north of Toronto. I want to recognize and honor the Wada Mohawk First Nations, the Moon River Métis and Inuit, and the Chippewas of Rama. This is part of our reconciliation efforts to really acknowledge the place that our Indigenous First Nations people have held and continue to hold in this beautiful land of ours. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do that. And without further ado, Tommy Collier is my guest this morning. Tommy and I have worked together over the years, and he's taken a great new direction in his business where he is supporting entrepreneurs to look great, feel great, and be great in the businesses that they choose from a creative lens. So, not to talk about him, let's welcome Tommy to the show. And Tommy, hello, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, Libby. It's so great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, one of the things that sort of blows my mind, Tommy, about you before we start talking about what you're doing now is what you have done and the way in which you've been recognized over the years. So I can see in the background a lineup of awards. Those are all of your tellies.
Yes, got a few awards back there.
and you've got one closer at hand that you're going to follow up. Yes.
This is one of my Emmys. I've got 4 of these little suckers.
That is fantastic.
They're regional Emmys, so they're a little bit smaller than like the network national Emmys that you see on TV.
Oh, well, you didn't need to tell us that because I don't actually have one to compare whether mine's bigger or smaller than yours. So what have you won some of those awards for?
All different kinds of media production. So videos I've created, TV, like commercial broadcast campaigns, all kinds of different stuff, just all kinds of videos.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And the way you and I know each other, so you have done those very large in-person productions for big conferences and big events for a number of years, and for some of the best speakers that are out there.
Yeah. And for 3.5 years, I was Bob Proctor's creative media director.
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with, all kinds of other people like that too.
Yeah. Amazing. And so you've taken a totally different direction to your business now. So here we are. I'm going to include myself in the grand we of entrepreneurs trying to make a go of it, build a business, build a brand, all of that kind of stuff. And you're now here to help all of us be our best selves, or at least show up as our best selves and make those first impressions into great lasting impressions. So what was the impetus for switching from, working for the big names to saying, no, you want to do this for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I became, started my passion for personal development started about, 10, 12 years ago. So anything in like the self-help genre, personal growth development, like books like The Secret, teachers, authors, speakers like Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Deepak Chopra, Bob Proctor, all those kinds of speakers. I really got into that kind of material for myself on a personal level, and I've changed my life over and over again studying those kinds of principles. And when I went to work for Bob Proctor, I did so because I really, I've been around in the media and production industry for such a long time. I have an eye for, kind of creative and quality and production value and stuff like that. And I noticed that people in the self-help world who are putting out content, most of it looks like it's about 10 years older than it is. And so I thought, hey, I would love to see the personal development world get up to speed with the rest of the world in terms of production value and quality and how things look. And when I went to work for Bob, I saw an opportunity to help him up level what he was doing, visually and creatively. And that I absolutely got to do. And I've helped other, people like him do that as well. But my mission, like in doing this kind of work, is to put the personal development world more on the map in terms of being up to speed, with the rest of the world, in terms of how things look and everything. So I thought, you know what, rather than helping, kind of one speaker, one teacher at a time and working, for them exclusively, I would love to create a way where I can help, the whole industry, or many more people in the industry at once, up level, increase what they're doing. And so that's where my new my program that I created, Creative Director on Demand, was born.
Interesting and fascinating. And you know what? I will get to what the nuts and bolts of that are and how people can get some of the great things that you offer.
Cool.
From Creative Director on Demand. Why don't we, and by the way, in the comments, if you have a question for Tommy or a comment, please do that. And if I'm looking over this way, it means that I'm looking over to the chat section in my LinkedIn feed. What are some of the things that you've seen that people just are still, after 3 years of being on Zoom, etc., they're still not quite getting right, or they're falling into a trap or making a mistake?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I mean, just from like a technical standpoint, I can't tell you how much, bad lighting and bad sound that I see, happening out there. It's getting better. I think COVID definitely helped that, because people started, getting on Zoom more, and everyone started getting ring lights and, better microphones and stuff. But I still see more of it than I would like to see. So I think that's one thing. Definitely a good idea to get yourself, like a better webcam and a better light, better microphone. But in terms of just also kind of overall other big mistakes, like common things I see people doing, I see a lot of people get into tough places because they invest in working with agencies and service providers that really don't know what they're doing, because they don't know how to hire an agency or a service provider. So I see a lot of people spend so much money working with people that they think are going to get exactly, get them where they want to be, and do everything that they say they're going to do for them, and it just doesn't happen. So yeah, that's one of the big things. And then in terms of messaging too, I hear a lot of people, they don't know how to talk to their people. Well, first of all, they don't know who they're talking to. So they haven't established their audience they're talking to, and then they don't know how to speak to them. And people end up by default just talking about themselves. And no one really cares about you. They care about what you can do for them. So that's just, I guess, some of the major, overall mistakes I see people make.
There's a great line, and I learned it from a trainer years ago, and I have blatantly stolen the line and used it myself in all of the training that I do with salespeople, which is 100% of your prospects or customers care 100% more about themselves than you 100% of the time.
Yes.
So stop talking about yourself.
It's so true. Yeah.
But you talk about the money, and I've investigated different ways to get up to speed in Instagram, and I mean, tens of thousands of dollars for help, and you still end up having to do a lot yourself.
It's so true.
In part because you're working with people who don't understand your business.
Yeah.
They don't know who you are. They don't know the kind of message that it is that you want to reflect. And so it's just a lot of money chasing algorithms.
Yeah.
And I've been there, done that, and lost that game on chasing algorithms.
Yeah.
But you want to invest a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find, for the most part, my best advice for, if you're like, I don't want to do all the social media stuff myself, or I don't want to do all the marketing stuff myself, I just want to stay in my lane of like teaching what I'm teaching or whatever it is, you're so much better off most of the time to hire someone, get someone like an intern or like an entry level person that's got some of the, a few of like the soft skills or the hard skills that you know you're going to need, but train them into doing the thing or get training for them so
Mm.
they can learn how to do it for you versus hiring, an agency or a freelance, person of some kind who's working with all kinds of different clients. That tends to be the best, longest, most sustainable thing to install into your business
Yeah.
is like a great, basically like a great assistant, first of all, that you can either have someone train or train to do those things for you that's just doing that for your business. Because so many people that you can hire, they think they tell you they can do this for your business, but they really don't know your business.
No.
And by the time you've educated them on your business, I mean, most of them won't even allow you to spend that much time, they're just not that interested in learning that much. But by the time you do that, you might as well have trained an employee. So
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
I think the other thing too is not just on the getting the message out there, but where do you really want to be and making
yeah,
it close to that. I mean, I was told over and over again, I have to be on Instagram.
hmm,
And my market is not an Instagram.
yeah,
I sell to corporate leaders
yeah,
and they're not buying that. I mean, I buy a ton of stuff on Instagram, far too much. But widgets and gadgets and, one-time ticket items. And it's not my market.
yeah.
And people get very caught up in what they should be doing.
Oh yeah,
Doing
and there's
business
just
is
advice
different.
coming right and left from so many different areas of the peanut gallery
Yeah.
telling you where you should be and what you should do, but they don't know anything about you yet, so you have to be really careful who you listen to.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about your business then.
okay.
Because you said, you're not the one-to-one, but you're the one-to-many,
Hmm.
serving many people at the same time. What does creative director on demand look like and feel like, and why should people want to come and do business with you?
Yeah, well, it's really cool. It's really unique. I haven't really seen anything else like it, but essentially, like, so I'm a, very experienced creative director. I mean, that's kind of the best title I have for myself, even though it's not really all encompassing, but I've got so much different experience from so many different avenues of the creative, marketing, technical world. So I've got so much information in my brain and so much experience. And so what this is basically an opportunity to come in and basically pick my brain. So I have a platform that I've built. It's like almost like a Facebook group, but it's not on Facebook, and it's kind of more. You can miss a lot of stuff that happens in a Facebook group, but I have a platform that I've built where people can come in and they can post their projects that they're working on, like post their graphics that they're making, post their videos they're recording, send me their post their copy, all this kind of stuff. And I review it and get back to you with my feedback and tell you how to make it better. And then once a week, we do a Q&A, like a live Q&A on Zoom, and we dive in and look at, whatever anybody has that week to look at. And, almost everybody that comes on to ask a question, someone else in the group's got that question too, or multiple people.
Mhm.
So I take all the questions that are asked and clip them out and put them in a library so you can search like frequently asked questions. So it's only a few months old here, so it's still evolving, but it's become a really great way for people to come and get direct answers and feedback to their questions and not have to guess and not have to worry if what they're doing is going to work or not. I can just tell you right off the bat, like, that's going to work and here's why, or it's not going to work and here's what to do to make it better.
Love it. And
Yeah.
you said when we were chatting earlier that you are already hearing some success stories. Can you share any of them?
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, one of my clients, she's creating a podcast, and she's really been struggling with the music, like trying to figure out the
Mm.
music. And so she's just been sending me stuff, and I just tell her right away, like, this is better than this, choose this one. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool to have your feedback, because I would just sit and churn on this decision, and it would take me, maybe days or weeks to make this decision. And I just tell her straight up, like, here's the better choice and why, or whatever. So that's cool. I'm basically helping people like um take a shortcut to like the end results of whatever they're creating, because I can just give them an objective, very experienced perspective really quickly, and they don't have to, go back and forth on it as much as they would,
Well, I mean, I remember when I put, and I haven't touched the music, the little coffee cup that pours with the little jingle. I I mean, that was a ridiculous amount of time that I spent just trying to find something that wasn't irritating.
Yeah, man,
Apologies to
finding the right
anybody who actually
music.
does find it irritating. It's the
Yeah,
best I could do on my own.
yeah, finding the right music, that can be that can be such a time-consuming process,
Yeah.
for
And,
sure.
so many of us too are inviting multiple guests to, whether people are calling it a master class or a client
Mhm,
event or whatever. I mean, if I'm live, I can just turn on a playlist on Spotify in a room with a
mhm.
decent speaker and have that be. That's a lot harder to do online, and there's
Yeah,
copyright laws and
yep,
all of that kind of thing. So, are you saying that one of the things, and maybe I'm just saying this selfishly, but one of the things that you are actually helping people with is figuring out where to source this music?
100%. Yeah, we actually we have had numerous conversations about the implications of copyright, especially when it comes to music. And yeah, and I share all my, all the great places I go to get music and why. And there's even in the terms of royalty free, copyright free music that you can use, there's still, you know, not all of them are created equal. So you can still run up against, inconvenient, really frustrating copyright issues, especially on YouTube, even from this copyright free sort of music.
Mhm.
So I've got, all kinds of recommendations and tips and tricks on how to avoid all that kind of stuff and where to get the best quality music as well. So yeah.
Yeah, because that makes all the difference. I mean, from an
Mhm.
adult learning perspective, your mind completely opens up when you're listening to the right music.
Yes,
And
music is so
having
important. Yeah.
having been on so many of your events, and by the way, if you ever get to, are you doing dance parties?
Yes, we are. We haven't done too many yet, but
I mean, that is the craziest, goofiest thing that a person can do, but you know what? It
yeah,
changes
it's so
your
much fun.
biology,
It
right?
does. Yeah.
Yes, coming back from a break and
That's,
and seeing a few little heads
yeah.
nod, and then all of a sudden,
Yep.
seeing
That's one
people
of the best
smile.
ways to
Yes,
reinvigorate a Zoom meeting that's going stale is do a 30-second dance party.
exactly, exactly. I love it. We should do a dance party right now, but I don't have any music.
Shoot.
Darn. So it sounds like there's a lot of great resources that people can get from becoming a client of the
Mhm.
Creative Collective, or Creative Director on Demand.
Yes, that's the name of the program, and the Collier Collective, that's the company.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now you've got this second business line, which I
Yeah.
think is really interesting. And I've been able to attend one session so far. And that is,
Yeah, our newest program is called the Connection Club, and it's basically it's kind of more like a social club, but it's definitely got business an increase in business results in mind as well. But it's basically a place where entrepreneurs, coaches, entrepreneurs, anybody who's on not even you don't even have to be an entrepreneur yet, but anybody who's on kind of a self development path, it's a place to come and connect with like-minded, like-hearted people. And we do masterminding, networking, hacks to increase productivity and support. We're kind of calling it a success support system, because
mhm,
so often when you're kind of on sort of a growth success path, that can be a little bit of a lonely road, because not often people are just by default surrounded with people who are on the same kind of a path, with like family, coworkers, things like that. Not always a growth minded environment. So we wanted to create a place where people can come to be a part of an environment, meet some people, make some friends, make some business connections, maybe even create some partnerships with people who are, thinking and acting in that sort of forward moving way. So that's what the Connection Club's about.
nice. And so I attended a mastermind where people can bring their issue or
Yeah.
opportunity and get some support and advice. But there's several different sorts of programs.
Yeah, we have calls running all week. We've got 3 calls a week that we're doing. It's soon going to be 4. We do a weekly mastermind, like Libby just said. We're also doing a weekly speed networking session where it's kind of like speed dating, but on Zoom for networking. That's really fun. And then these we call them Superflow Power Hours, which is a place to come and get into a super creative space and get a bunch of work done in the space of 1 hour. And we did the first one last Friday, and it was amazing. I even got a ton of work done during it. It was so cool. So we're going to be doing probably 2 or more of those a week starting soon, and then all kinds of other stuff too. We're still kind of coming up with ideas for other things to add, and it also has a platform that we've built online where you can keep connected and share wins and offer your services and talk about what you're looking for, what you need help with, 24/7. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That last piece, the what did you call it? Power hour?
Yes, the Superflow Power Hour, we're calling it.
Superflow Power Hour. That sounds like a crazy idea, but that really can be miraculous. I think when, I come out of the corporate world. And so the idea that I'm energized by the people around me, especially coming out of sales organizations where, the walls are down and there's a lot of activity and you're hearing other people's conversations, your energy builds energy in the group. When you become an entrepreneur, you're often, like I am, alone
Yep.
in my office. And if I'm not on a call, my energy can sort of fall. And if I don't really have, my calls like I should and, have, right? We were talking about the shoulds and the getting rid of those. But you can go into that downward spiral of really not getting anything done.
Yeah.
And any brilliant idea that you had at the beginning of the day to say, I want to write that blog, or I want to, plan this program or do whatever, you just end up having a lost day.
Yeah, it's really easy to do.
Yeah. So these types of things, it sounds strange, but you're literally not in the same room, but you're kind of in the same room, feeding on each other's energy.
Yeah,
I mean, doing your own thing.
Yes. I mean, if you think about kind of why, why we're having the issue now of like people who are, they went to work from home during COVID, and now companies are wanting them to come back into the office in some cases, and why that is because the productivity has dropped off, maybe in some cases. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good idea, that we should be doing that. I think the work from home thing is amazing. But this power hour that we're doing is a way to, increase that productivity. Because basically, like, we're all just getting on Zoom and working. We're not talking. But like that combined, collective focused energy, plus everyone's on camera. So it's like accountability. Like, you're not going to just, get on your phone and, start playing games or something, because everyone else is working too. So yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a little mind trick, basically, but it works.
It does work. I mean, that's what we do all day, every day, is play a trick with our mind. And they either keep us stuck or move us forward.
Yeah. And that's an idea you could, maybe someone listening could implement too, like in their work. If you're, if you manage a team, get everyone on Zoom for an hour and work together. Maybe if you're, especially like sales teams, like if you're a sales team, get everyone on Zoom and have everyone do their reach outs like together,
Yeah. Do it silently, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Or the planning of the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
That first hour, that first 30 minutes,
Totally.
2 30-minute time blocks, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So many amazing ideas. And so much of it available through some of the great ideas and innovations that Tommy and and Monty,
yes,
your co-founder, is Monty. Monty. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Monty Collier. Yes, of course. Same last name. And you can do this yourself, but I really think it's a great opportunity to, if you're struggling, if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling like you could do and be so much more in terms of how you show up. So creative director on demand, or how to feel like you're in a community of connected, like-minded people who want to drive their business forward. You've got it all, Tommy.
Yeah.
So let's close off by giving people some contact information for you. So Tommy at the colliercollective.com is how to reach you. I think we should talk about, I'll come on your show and do a little sales training.
Sounds great. Absolutely. We should do that.
For creative director on demand. And
I would love that.
But in the meantime, if you're, again, if you are alone, make sure that you are reaching out to Tommy and getting the kind of support that you might not win your Emmy, but you will win more business. How's that?
Well, and if you want to win an Emmy, I can tell you how to do that too.
there you go. Yes, an Emmy. And what are you working on next? Your Oscar, I think.
I would love to win an Oscar eventually. I think that would be very cool. Yes.
I think so too.
I would love that. Yeah.
All right. Well, Tommy, this has been so much fun having this chat this morning. And again, it's Tommy at the colliercollective.com. I think most people know how to get in touch with me, but this really was about Tommy. So thank you so much. Thank you for those who joined. And if you've got any questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to either of us. Next time, in fact, next week, a good friend of both of us, Mr. Doug Dane, has launched his first book, Mistaken Identity. I'll be posting about that.
I have it too.
There you go. Look at that. We're doing a double promotion. He'll be on the show next Monday. I'll be putting up a post about that later today or first thing tomorrow morning. That should be terrific. And I've got some guests lined up for May. So stay tuned, everyone. And thank you for joining us on Opportunity Makers.
Thanks, Libby.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Bye.